many of you love doing your 1 minute? You say yes or no. Do you love doing your 1 minute? Say yes or no. And the second one will be, do you feel like you could improve your 1 minute? Kathy, good morning, girl. I love 1 minute. Yes. Just think the more times you do the 1 minute, the more times you do your 1 minute, the more opportunities you have to share who you are and share your business and make a new friend. So that's kind of how I look at it. And I think in the very beginning, I've always been a networker. I just never knew I was. And then when I started officially networking, I made some really big mistakes. I'll never forget, Barb, you were actually with me this first time that I really felt like I was networking officially. Now I went to a conference in California, and I now know how. I was like, do I even want to see these people ever again? Because I thought I didn't do my normal just, hi, how are you? Let's be friends kind of thing. I went in there thinking I was supposed to go in there and hand out every business card and maybe sign up a few people on the spot. Like, no, don't do that. Like I said, I don't even want to see those people again because they like, who in the world is she? She doesn't know what she's doing. Oh, so it was just crazy. So Barb, you don't like it. And yes, you remember being there with me. Maybe that was it. You and I were out there in California together, and Lisa more of a wallflower. But you do shine, Lisa. You've gotten really good at it, and I think that we make so much of it that when people are first coming in, they're afraid of the 1 minute because, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I do the wrong thing? And hey, I did the wrong thing. Nobody told me I'm not supposed to just go out and hand out my business card to everybody I meet. That's one thing if you're talking and you have a little conversation with someone and, then you exchange cards, but you just don't go. I literally went up. Oh, I'm so embarrassed to even remember this. But I went up to a table and I said, oh, hey, how y'all doing? Nice to meet you. And here's my card and blah, blah, blah. No, please don't do that. Only give your card out, if they ask you for it, but after you've actually had a little conversation. So, but that is, and you'd like to improve. Okay, Barb. And I think most people would, and sometimes you just got to change it up. Maybe you've been saying the same thing, for a year and a half, but you can use your same formula. See, I believe there's a little formula in there, and that's what I teach. So I teach a class called 1 Minute to Unforgettable. And, I love it because you want people to remember you, not in a bad way, like the person just handing out her business cards, not even caring about anybody. Don't be that person. To be the person that when they hear you say your 1 minute, they say, oh, I want to know a little bit about that. And I think that's really the main thing as you're starting maybe, or, maybe you've been doing networking a long time. But the most important thing is to build relationship. And you want in your 1 minute, the whole point is not to sell something. Y'all, you are not going to go into a networking meeting and sell $1,000 worth of product. I mean, it's just not going to happen. If it does, please send me a note. I'd like to know that. But it's a time where you want to introduce yourself and see who might be interested, somebody who might want to talk to you further. So all the 1 minute to do is to make them remember you and want to talk to you so that you can set up a one-on-one. At the one-on-one is when you're going to go to that next level, find out more about them and what they do. They'll find out about you and what you do. And you can find out if maybe you can recommend them or they could recommend you like a referral, or maybe they are interested in what you have to offer then. And maybe you'll sell something then. But in most cases, I would say you don't really even sell a product on that next time. It's a layering effect that you're building relationship, because I'm not going to buy from people I don't know, like, and trust. Y'all hear that a lot, but it's really, really true about knowing and liking somebody, and then you're going to trust them. And I would much rather purchase a product from somebody I know, like, and trust, than I would just random somebody walking by and he hands me their card and says, here, let me know if you need anything. That's not a good way to run business, because you don't want just a one-time sale, right? You want ongoing business. You want ongoing relationship. You want them to love you so much they tell all your neighbors. well, their neighbors, and they tell their friends at church. If you, whatever your product or whatever it is that you're representing, service or product, it all works the same way. Yes, Barb, before we left town, we went out and sat out at the beach. We just sat there on the beach in Newport Beach like this for like 2 hours before we had to leave to drive back to Vegas. So that was a fun trip. So as we're thinking about, as you're thinking about your 1 minute. So very seldom, you guys, very seldom do I plug something that I'm doing. And I'm going to be offering within the next 60 days, and I'll let y'all know, but if you're interested in wanting to change, to tweak, to design, to craft, whatever words you want to use, your 1 minute, I will be offering that class. That is the 1 minute to unforgettable. It's a workshop. It's several hours, because in order to really get it good, and then you can use it for everything. You'll be able to take that 1 minute, and if you go to somewhere that they allow you 2 minutes, then you'll be able to expand it to 2, because we're going to actually start with the bigger story, and then we're going to tweak it down to that 1 minute, but you'll always have a place to expand to. So that's a reason that I do it like that. And there is a little formula. In fact, I'm going to give you the formula. Now you can go do it on your own. I'm not trying to hide things. But Barb will actually remember this too, because it was at this trip that I learned a lot. And I was a vendor there. I thought I would be sharing what I do. And I just wound up learning a lot. I really learned a lot at that one. And this is an adapted version, a little bit changed from the version we learned at that retreat, or whatever you call it, that we shared together. So here, I'm going to give you the basic formula here, and then you can take it and expand it how you want. You can reach out to me, or you can watch for my workshop. And if you want to come be part of it, that would be great. So here's the first thing you want to do in your 1 minute. Actually, I'm going to stop and I'm going to say, here's the first thing you don't want to do. Don't forget this. Do not say your name the very first time. The first 7 seconds, nobody remembers what you say. Okay, there's, oh man, Lynn Franklin she calls out a certain thing, and now I can't remember what it's called, but don't do it. Neuroscience shows that you don't say your name, hi, I'm Delinda Lane, and I'm a speaker, and blah, blah, blah. No, you're going to first do something to grab their attention. So you're going to do a little bit of a story. It's a story or a statistic or a question. How many of y'all have ever done such and such? Something that engages them, because now they can take their focus off of Susie, who just did a marvelous job over there. Okay. So, most of the time you're going around a room or around a table. And I know I'm talking fast today because I actually have a lot I want to tell y'all this morning. Hey, good morning, Grace and Sherry. So nice to see you. So you want to grab their attention either with a story or a statistic or a question. All right. Then you're going to go to what I call the basic form of the 1 minute. And that's when you can say your name. Okay. Then you'd say, hi, I'm Delinda Lane. And you're going to go into your next thing. And here's your thing. You're going to go, put your name. I'm Delinda. I do what? You share, you don't, okay. You don't say, I sell widgets. Okay. Don't say that. I share whatever it is that you do. So what do? You share, you teach, you help, you empower. Pick a verb, an action word of what it is that you do. Okay. And who do you do it for? Okay. Another little thing. You don't do it for the whole world. Who's your primary audience? Okay. So for me, most all of y'all are moms. Most of you are Christian women. I don't ever put it as empty nesters, but most of you out there are, we're above 40 and we're moms. And so yours might be women with health challenges. I'm trying to think of who's out there that I could say that with, but who's your target audience? Okay. Your avatar, who's your audience, who's your target audience, and why? Why do you do this? What are the features that you have? Okay, so I do what, for who, why they need it, so they can have less pain and then why they need it, and then what do you want them to have? What's the result of what they're going to have? Okay, so you do what, for who, why, so they can have these features, and so they so they can benefit and have the results. They can have peace and joy and more time with their grandchildren. It is, and then put a little tag, whatever your tag might be, and then say your name, so say your name again. Delinda Lane, Empower Mentor. I mentor women to empower themselves. That's what I, use on mine. So, all right, so that's your basic thing. So that's your formula. Did y'all get that? I'm your name. Do what, your action verb. For who, your target audience. What features do you offer? What is it that they're going to gain? And then what is the result? And then put your name again and a tag. So when we do the class, we really break this down and we fill in the blanks. It took me, y'all, this thing in California that Barb and I went to. It took me most of that weekend to really narrow it down, to get down to what it was, how to say it in a clear, concise manner. Most of us know what we do, but how do you say it in clear, concise language so people can really, really understand what you're saying? All right, so there you go. That's the basics. Now, about a year ago, it always takes me a while to act on the promptings that I get. Grace, I don't know what you think about that, but it does. It's not, and usually I usually have to see it, hear about it, or feel it, the prompting, like 3 times before I do it. And it first happened last year sometime, and I mentioned it to Lisa, who's on here, Miss Lisa Fredrickson, and I think it was because I was preparing for this business 1 minute that it just came to me that as Christians, what is our 1 minute? Do we have a clear, concise way of sharing our Christian journey, our faith journey? And I would say most people know what they believe. All of you know what you believe, and I believe you know why you believe it. And I know that you want others to have it too. So thinking of this same kind of formula, we just would phrase it a little bit differently. But I think that it would be really good for all of us to have that 1 minute. So I've been working on mine because I thought, well, I would share mine with you to give you an idea. It's not quite tweaked out just to 1 minute yet, because it takes time, y'all, to really do that, to really narrow it and get just as concise as you can. And keep in mind, I feel like, and this is just all my opinion, y'all. I didn't get this in the, theological book, but I know why I do it. And the reason I do it, and the reason I'm going to do a workshop on this too. Because I think it's important that we know how to respond to the world. When the world starts, bashing Christians, what do we say? Or when someone comes up to you and they say, what is it about you? You just seem to roll with things. Things don't bother you, or you seem to always have peace and joy. Whatever that is, I know everyone, because of y'all that are on here, I know that I know that you want to share the message. I know that you love Jesus and you want to share the message. So this is not just a spiritual thing. It is a Christian thing about what our actual testimony is. And so can you be clear and concise in your actual testimony? So 1 Peter 3:15-16 says, always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. And then it goes on to say, and I think this is really important as well, because I think in the last few years, I don't know, could be even the last 10 years, this is where things have gone a little astray. But it says, but do this with gentleness and respect, keeping a clear conscience, so that those who speak maliciously against your good behavior in Christ may be ashamed of their slander. And I think, we can attest to the fact with, there have been things out on Facebook. Sometimes the response from Christians isn't very Christ-like. And it says right here, do it with gentleness and respect. So when we have you may have more than 1 minute, but if you have it down to about a minute, you're going to be able to, and what is the purpose of a 1 minute? To get them to want more. All you're trying to do is let them know what you believe. So then they might ask you, well, what do you mean? Or can you tell me more? Or how do I do that? You want them to engage with you. And that's the point of your 1 minute in business. And it's the same thing for your 1 minute for, your one minute, 60 seconds. And I did ask AI, you guys. I've just really discovered AI this week. It is so cool. Oh my gosh. Where I struggle for words, I just put it out there and it came up and it said, when I was talking about the Christian 1 minute, it gave me one of the answers was spreading the good news in 60 seconds. Don't you love that? I do. It hit me, gave me about 10, and that was the one that I really love. So here is mine. And it might be just a little bit over a minute, but bear with me as I'm continuing to go this journey as well. So through hell and damnation is how I discovered Jesus. Yes, I was at a Baptist revival when I was 7 years old, and I didn't hear all that other stuff. I just heard Jesus. I could hear Jesus in that message that he loves me and he wants me to follow him. And I knew right then that I wanted to be with Jesus for the rest of my life. And that's where my journey started. I'm Delinda Lane, and I'm not a theologian, but I know what the Bible says about Jesus, and I take him at his word. He's faithful when I am not. He's loving and merciful, and he will never forsake me, no matter what. He gives a peace that passes all understanding. If you're looking and desire that kind of love and peace and unconditional love, then all you have to do is ask him into your heart. I'd love to have a conversation. If you want to know more, I'd love to have a chat. Okay, so what I would hope is that whenever that opportunity would come, because we never know when whenever those opportunities are going to come, but if we have something, if we've thought about it ahead of time, then we can have some response to what they say, because nobody can discount your story. Right? This is very important. It doesn't matter. You say, well, I don't know what to say. Well, all you have to say is, who is Jesus to you? What do well, I don't know what the Bible says. Well, find your favorite verse and just use that one. But you don't have to be a theologian. You don't have to be a pastor or a Sunday school teacher. Just be you and tell who Jesus is to you. You heard mine. I was in a revival, and that's when I accepted Jesus. And I don't doubt he's been with me this whole time. Has my life been perfect? No. Have I had life happenings? Yes, of course. But he's always been there. And nobody can discount that. Nobody can say, oh, that's not true. That's a lie. No, that's my story. You get to take my story from me. And just like you have a faith story. You have a journey to share, and how through the ups and downs. And maybe there's one time in particular that you just knew that, just that moment, be the moment when you accepted Christ. There could be other moments. You pick the story that you want to share, the miracle that Jesus has done in your life. And that becomes part of your spiritual 1 minute. So think about that. Like I said, I'm gonna offer this as a workshop, and I would love to have you join me if you want just some more help trying to craft it and design and get it down, because it is so important. And it's going to be I'm going to charge $5, you guys. I'm just going to be really upfront for the faith one, $5, because I want your commitment. Not that I want your money. For the business one, it's a different thing. It's a workshop. But for this faith journey, it's like a $5 thing just to prove to me that you're serious and you're going to show up, being totally, authentic and transparent with you guys. So what, have you ever really thought about that, about really honing your faith journey, your testimony? Really is what it is, your testimony in 1 minute. But if you've ever really thought about having your testimony in a short, concise manner, just so somebody knows what you believe and what you want to say about that, and make them so that they want to know more. Because with non-Christians, they're just seeking, the world is seeking, they're seeking to feel that heart, addictions are rampant. There's, the highest, they talk about how high the drug rate is, and, drugs and alcohol, and people are just searching, and we have the answer. We do. We've got the answer, right? I know y'all would agree with that. So as we continue on in our journey, I'll set a date out there, or if you guys would just actually send me a message, just say yes, you want to do that, or send me a private message that yes, you want to be part of the workshop, and then I'll get it set up and let you know, and hopefully that timing will work for you. So all right, so 2 1 minutes you're going to work on, and those 2 1 minutes will take you some time. They'll take you some energy, some real thought. They like I said, it took me the whole weekend at this thing I was with Barb. What was that, Barb? I wish I could think of oh, thank you, Lisa. Charge more. Well, for the spiritual journey, I just feel that that's got to be my gift to give. But if you guys want your business 1 minute, yes, I will charge you my ongoing fees for that. And I'll put that out there, because that's a 2 or 3 hour class, depending on how many people are in there. Matter of fact, I think the last one we did 2 3 hour days back to back to really get it. Because I work with you individually. You're going to tell me your story and everything about who you are and why you do what you do, and then we put it together for you. So, or if you want to work with me one-on-one to do that, I can do that too. So thank you, Barb. Thank you. And Grace, thank you. I know we do sometimes, but like I said, I don't know why, but it usually takes like the third time God hits me on the head with the 2x4 so that I pay attention. The thing is, it's so fun when you finally get to the other side and get that 1 minute clear and concise. And y'all, I changed mine quite a bit depending on what audience I'm talking to. It always fits the same format, of what it is that I'm talking about, what product or service it is, if I'm offering, if I'm doing speaker classes, training speakers, or whether it's doing a, positive mindset class on that. So sometimes you'll adjust it, but you'll find that the formula that I teach in that always works. So, as I said, I think in 7 years, it's only been just a couple times I've mentioned anything to you about the things that I offer. And I am going to put one more thing out there, because I'm being bold. This is my year to be bold. If any of y'all know anybody looking for a speaker, women's groups in particular, churches are my favorite, because so many Christian women are being held back from what other people have told them. And I love that opportunity to speak. So if you just even know of a conference, just let me know. I'm open to that. I'm looking this year for that, and know that God's got doors waiting to open. So, all right. Any comments out there, anybody? Anybody wants to contribute right now to your and say yes, you're interested in either one, but I'm really more interested to see if you feel that a class on designing your Christian 1 minute would be helpful. You could just put yes in the chat box if you feel that would be helpful to you. All right. Well, thank y'all for being here today, and I look forward to this. I feel like we're fine for me. Okay, I'm a little slow into the year. The month of January is gone, so I feel like I'm just revving up for the year. I got my word bold, and I'm taking some other bold steps in my business and my life right now for this year. So I look forward to seeing and hearing from all of you on what things you're doing this year. What are you looking for? What are your goals, or what's your many of you have shared with me your word of intention, which has been awesome, and I thank you for that. So, all right, thank you very much. We are at the top of the hour. It's been so fun sharing with y'all today. Go try to design your 1 minute. Oh, you don't see my paper. There, here it is, your form. Speak a little story. All right, let's get together. Let's see, Barb, this is the year of the open door. And thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you, Grace. Maybe can we follow up and yes. Okay. So yes, I would like the information. We teach in business, business 101 is they can't say yes if you don't ask. So how do y'all know that I would like to speak at your church or your women's group or your friends, whatever, if I don't let you know? So I'm just putting it out there. I am interested. Let me know. I have a whole lots of days available. So I just want to see how to fill in those blanks. You know, here's a little aside. When I was winning my Cadillac in Mary Kay, it took certain parameters. So, you know, you're working on a list, and on my team, I needed a certain amount of people to be on my team because that's just sort of part of the formula. And so it was like, this is a done deal. I had it on a poster board thing behind my desk. It's like these are the blanks to fill in. So it was like, okay, this is already a done deal. I just don't know who's going to fit in the blanks. And so then I just filled in the blanks as the people came. And it was a great visual for me. But, you know, so you're always asking. So in your business, don't be afraid to ask for the appointment. Don't be afraid, you know, to ask, because how can they say yes? They can't. They're only going to, you know, it's a no if you don't ask. All right, little extra business 101 there. All right. Thank you for being here. You guys are amazing. You're awesome. And I just love that you share your morning with me. Go out, make it a fabulous week, because remember that life is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. Oh, I love that. There's so much power in that. So choose wisely, go out and make it a fabulous week, everybody. Bye now. Thank you.